it's time for a piece of maintenance. This watch, it's really been bugging me. It's been, there's like this weird haze in this crystal, and I don't know, I'm just not digging it. Plus it has a couple of scratches. So I said, well, I need to replace the crystal. If you're gonna replace the crystal, might as well do case rebuild. So how about we do that case rebuild right now? Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and since I'm going to go into it, might as well do it. Might as well do it for you all. That was a little harder than I was expecting, but it worked eventually. Okay, so congratulations, you have gotten your strap off, hopefully in one piece. So what do we got? Got to get the stuff apart. First things first, you want to pull the shroud. Okay, so here we are. We got that out. You might hear some screaming in the background because some arguments going on regarding who has to clean. Okay, is that all good? So we got the shroud off. What do we see? Okay. I'm proud of this watch. This is this was one of my, I'm very proud of this watch. This is not a single watch, or nor did it start life like this. I built this watch out of parts over the course of years when they would come in, and I slowly built them. Then enough one day, and I found when I didn't, I went ahead and built one, but I literally built it from parts. And since I was building it from parts, I decided to put in a 6000 series automatic. Yeah, it's a neat look. Bottle cap look. That'd be a funny thing, wouldn't it? If you imagine if you made a version of this watch like that. In any case, I built this out of parts and I'm proud of it. That also took more work than it should have. That's a sign that the caseback seal is, what? I built this in 2016? Wow. No, but I've serviced it since then. Yeah, a bunch of times, I think. Okay. I have no idea what that was, and I don't care to find out. Would you open? There we go. I gotta be more careful, man. I got fuzz on the outside of this. I should have cleaned that off first. I was thinking more about making sure that you people could see than I am about basic procedures for opening a watch, and I just didn't do that. But nice thing is I know a guy who can fix watches. So this is, I built this 6309. It's actually a 63-1, oh, it's a straight up 6306. Huh, okay. So it's just a 6306, but I outgunned the lower mainspring arbor ports and all that stuff. There, by the way, is your stem rest washer. That's the baby. I'm not going to take this crown apart because, one, I could feel how it was gripping. Two, I didn't do this one that long ago, so I'm not gonna. Okay, let me get that name out. I am proud of this. I mean, literally parts. Like a dial I would find in some junk lot. And remember, the hands were in some watchmaker's lot. Like in a corner, some tiny box and like 12 photographs, trying to blow it up big enough to see if there was anything good. This is about the only thing good that was in it, that handset, but I'm happy to have it. All right, that is gonna go away, and it's gonna get covered in our handy dandy thingy. Okay, so now what do we got? We got this case back. We got us that case back. Okay, we got us empty case. And I'm going to be taking that. Now, I like putting the case back on, because then it allows you to, have something to push on. So next step is going to get off our rotating ring. Now these are equipped with a cutout. It's like a fingernail cutout that you can just barely see right there. Yep, I'm being bad. I'm being bad. Can't do that. Okay, the case is really fighting me, the rotating ring. And that happens sometimes if the seal is old enough. I'm kind of surprised it's like this, but you know what the hell. In any case, I can't get my case tool to be in there. Maybe I need to sharpen it. This is the next thing that I do. It's kind of like using a shim. You can get just a little bit further in there. And it normally works. Boy, this one just does not want to come out. Wow. There we go. See, so there you go. You got your beachhead. So now what you got to do, this is really nuts, but I swear this is sometimes this is what I have to resort to. So you get it to crack open, just a hair. Oh, by the way, this method of using razor blade to get the bezel off, that's how you do it on a Rolex. That's how you do it. Here it's an accident, a byproduct of, there we are, byproduct of something beyond the watch's control versus actual design. Seiko had it better. Okay, so that's what we did. We used your X-Acto knife, your handy dandy X-Acto knife. Use that as a wedge to get it that first click up. Then use your handy dandy S282. Open that up. So, here we go. It's dry. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Just needs to be greased. It's going to be fine. Okay. Where is our... Wait a second. God, for a second I thought that was loose. Okay, so now let's do it again. Because you'll notice that unlike a 6105 or 6306 or 6309, the crystal retaining ring isn't a snap down, it is a screw down. So we have to find our tooly tool. We open that. Where's the lug? There we go. Okay. Now, I get me one of these things, round toothpick. I use these multiple times a day, every single time a day. Every single job I do, I use these all the time. I use them for spreading loom and poking stuff. And there, this is unscrewing. On, off. Are we going here? We got it, we got it, we got it, we got it. Okay. There's your crystal screw down ring. Look at how nice and sharp it is. I mean, it's dusty obviously, but nice and sharp. That's our crystal. I'm not sure why I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but I certainly am seeing it. Okay. Since we have the movement out as you're supposed to do during a crystal change, we can just come in here. Since we're going to be cleaning the case anyway, I can just push the darn thing out. I mean, if I wanted to be clever, I could put a thingy over it. Probably should, because that protects the chapter ring. Exactly the same as the 6309 7548. Exactly the same. Okay, so we have, there's a crystal gasket. Now these are Viton. They don't, basically they don't really degrade. Unless they're physically damaged, these things will remain usable, basically, as far as I know, indefinitely. That's what Seiko says. It's in the manual. You take these out, you rinse them in alcohol, and then let them air dry. I do grease mine with some silicone grease. Some people say you're not supposed to do it. I do it. It makes it so much easier to get the crystal in. So anyway, this is going to go through the cleaner. Here's my crystal. Now, what in the heck was I seeing? I see that, well, the outside is scratched actually more than I thought. This is one of our crystals, by the way. Nice thing is, I have some crystals. So here they are, pretty much fresh off the parts dryer. Gotta have a parts dryer. Gotta have a parts dryer. Gotta. Oh, it looks like it's a scratch. Okay, the reason you have to have a parts dryer is you've got to be able to get all the water out of these things. Way to do it is you got to get it nice and hot. Very long time ago, somebody I know, a whole lot, replaced a crystal on a watch and did a case cleaning like this. And but he rushed and he didn't make sure the case was completely dry, and so there's a little moisture probably inside the crown tube, and it got into the watch. In any case, the height and humidity, it would have been a tiny amount of water, grayed out the loom. We dealt with that. I don't remember how, but ever since that happened, I make sure my stuff is, when I take these off, they're too hot to touch. Looks pretty good, clean, huh? Doesn't it? Isn't that neat? Doesn't that look good? Nice and shiny. Nice and shiny. And this, again, especially important too for this. This is a 7549 K-Spec, 7548. But any of the 754 blanks, they have this extra plate that's kind of like, you know, sealed in here, pressed in here. It's the magnetic shield. And so there's a hollow. Basically, this thing isn't welded all the way and it's just kind of tacked in. So you get water in there and it's going to stay in there. You got to get this hot, like hot, and for a while. And that'll drive out the moisture. Clean the rotating ring by hand. There that is. I like these. This is a 6105 type insert. It's thinner, has a lower height, but Seiko used them in a whole bunch of other things, including 6309s, and they adapted them by putting in this beautiful little shim. The later ones, it's just the insert, but I like these because they've got that beautiful flat shim in there and it protects the loom. I just think that's nice. Okay, so what are we doing? Really only thing at this point is to basically lubricate the different bits and then, you know, go from there. I have a process I like to do myself, but this one is actually from the Seiko guide, which is that you're supposed to take some silicone grease, your waterproof grease, and you just get some on the threads here. I really do like to sort of, you know, make sure that I'm pre-lubing all of this stuff, because I don't want to, you know, worry about that. I've seen corrosion in these cases right here. So I like to I get some silicone grease in there. I don't know if it helps or it harms, but I mean, obviously could act as an anti-seize and certainly could help protect the metal. I don't think it's doing any harm. You know, I do that too, because otherwise you get water trapped in back there, and I've had some of these shroud screws just, oh my God. Okay, so I've got that, all that's done. Okay, so I am now going to, let's build up. I also like getting just a little bit of silicone grease on these threads and on this sealing surface. I like to make sure this stuff is good to go. Plus it makes it, see, it's not squeaky at all. It's good. There, okay. So now basically we are going to reverse our movement. We have to put together, we have to put back our chapter ring. Nothing, of course, nothing in here is, obviously, is going to be greased. This just sits there with the crown. This cutout goes right there to that cutout. See, there's a cutout right there. This tab goes right there as well. Come on. Okay. I don't know if I got my tab lined up. You can always adjust it from underneath, and typically that's what I do, but, you know, what the heck? Okay. I have the tab gap where it's supposed to be. You can see it right there. Now we have our handy dandy sort of the crystal gasket something or other ring. And then we have our lightly and freshly greased L gasket. There are a lot of people who say, no, 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 don't do that. I grease them. I always have. Now this one, see, I would say the one thing is with these, you want to kind of make sure you get them pulled out a little bit because you want them to sit just a little tight inside the case. It makes getting the, making the crystal in a whole lot better. And as long as you're not hauling on it, I've never seen any damage done from that. You also got to make sure that it is down in the channel where it's supposed to be before you start trying to ram a crystal in there. This is a very light touch for any people out there who are worried about that. I'm going to make sure it's in there. Okay, that looks good to me. So now, let's get us a crystal. I picked one at random. The only difference between this crystal, which is the 325W 16GA, and the 6159, which is 325W 14GA, is the bevel being frosted. Okay, so here we are. The key to this is you got to press. You don't try to go side to side, okay? You just press straight in. And you should, if you got that greased properly, just a hair, and if you got it stretched out so it's hugging the walls, well, it should drop in just as easily as that did. Oh, I forgot my crystal retaining ring. Hang on. Okay, there's your crystal retaining ring. Ooh, I almost forgot. I needed to get that. Hang on just one second. So after we get the crystal in, the next most important thing, this sometimes can be a challenge. You can't just take the crystal ring and, you know, just screw the darn thing down. If there's any kind of extremely minor fluctuation in the sealing surface or something, you can crack the crystal. So you need to get just a little bit of, you know, protection in there. Like this. This is a nylon gasket, and it goes around this purpose-built, you see it's got that little channel in there. It's made for this. So let me get that on there. Oh, and I make a point of greasing these again very lightly. It doesn't hurt them, and it helps it just helps everything go smoothly. So there you go. You got your ring. And I'm holding the crystal in with my thumb. Not hard. I want to make sure, just want to make sure. Don't want that to pop out backwards, because that would be uncool. I don't remember if I said anything about, okay, fine, I'm just going to have to do this live. Got to get it square on this. There. We got it. Yes. Yes. Where's my good linen? There it is. I'm just checking it first. There, you got some clarity, huh? All right, it looks good. My finger jammed in there. You got any tighter? Probably can pull it back and do it again. Okay, there it is. That looks good to me. Other places that I grease, a lot of people, they just go ahead and they grease the seals and just let them sort of settle themselves out. Like, I like to make sure that we've got some grease, especially right here. This is the case ridge for the interlocking ridges that hold on the rotating ring. The rotating ring has a corresponding ridge inside of it. So I just like to help things along. Same with this. Again, I just like to help, just want to help things go. Just a little bit, doesn't hurt. Last thing I do is I use my ancient old speed greaser, which they're cheap and super useful. And I want to get just a little layer of grease on those little click ball things. And again, I'm just getting the bottom, just rolling the bottom edge, because it just helps everything. Okay, I determined that the rotating ring gasket was fine. Stretch it out a hair. Let's grease it. Okay. And again with these, I like to just pull them out just a hair, not a lot. But then, because it makes it easier if they are hugging the inside wall of the ring, it just makes it not only easier to snap on, it makes it so that it's much less likely to pinch the gasket. Okay, where is it? Ah, I see you. Handy dandy trusty thingy. I have this. This is one of my crystal presses, but I have this one. It's all beat up and dusty. I have this one set up basically permanently, specifically for these rotating rings, because they're all more or less the same size. So you hold it there. Make sure you're centered. See if I did it. Okay. And don't be afraid to, when you're stretching out that gasket, to give it a little bit of oomph. You really want to make sure that it hugs the inside wall. You want to stretch out to the point that you kind of have to really work it to get it into the channel. Otherwise, you can pinch it, which is what I just did. So don't be, it's delicate balance. Enough stretching, not too much stretching. Okay, let me snap that off. I was reminded of a certain lesson. You got to make sure that that crystal retaining ring is screwed down to the point that the top surface is even with the top surface of the case where it meets that. If it's any higher, it'll touch on this, and this thing will start binding up, because it's supposed to feel like that. But my ring was up too high, and so it did not feel like that, but now it does. Okay, so let's open this up and let's recase. Okay, so that's all together. Gotta just put this down, and I'm gonna just clean this up with my handy dandy rag, my lens cleaner. I love this old piece of linen. So nice. It's my grandmother's. And sometimes quality really does last. Beautiful old thing. Okay, so now it is time for our screws and our shroud. That came out nice, didn't it? That looks good. So really the last trick is that you want to drop in each screw. Get over here. I'm going to drop in each screw, and you don't tighten it down all the way. Like you get one and you crank it down all the way. Get it down and just try to just snug it down a little bit. Wait, where did I put that? Ah. This is a super hardcore, you know, watchmaker's tool. That was another thing I just engaged there. I mean, I just came across. This screw tried to cross thread. I could feel it. It was trying to hang up. So what you always should do is, just like a screw down crown, back it up until you feel the click. Then should, in theory, not be able to screw it in. There it is. So again, don't even really make it, you know, tight. This is my watch. I don't have to get wacky with it. Okay, there's that one. There she blows. Okay. Again, I don't really crank these down. I just don't. Once you got one, once you got them most of the way in, then you can firm them down. Because otherwise, you might get the shroud in the wrong place, and then it'll fight you trying to get on because it won't be aligned. Anyway, there you go. There we have it. I've changed the gaskets on my, well, I replaced the crystal, my 7549, which is really a 6306. Okay, onward and upward. Thank you for watching.